The Well of Justice. The wind whispered through the oaks, carrying the scent of fresh-cut grass across our quiet suburban street in Maplewood, Ohio. It was the kind of neighborhood where kids rode bikes until dusk and neighbors waved from porches. But beneath the surface, something darker simmered. My daughter, Emily, was my world. At 10, she carried a weight no child should anxiety that locked her in silence, scars from a past too heavy to name. Her only solace was Max, a golden retriever with soulful eyes, her therapy dog and guardian. I'm Tom Harper, a widower, a mechanic, and Emily's shield. But one day, a woman named Deborah Vance, the iron-fisted HOA president, tore that shield away. She didn't just hurt my daughter, she buried her heart alive. This is the story of how I fought back. That morning, I flipped pancakes into hearts for Emily, her favorite. She gave me a shy smile, a rare gift. Max sat by her chair, steady as stone. Everything felt right until I stepped out to fix a neighbor's truck. I told Emily I'd be back by noon. She nodded, Max at her side. I should have known peace never lasts. When I returned, the air was wrong too still, like the world held its breath. Emily knelt by the old well in our backyard, hands clawing the dirt, eyes hollow. I sprinted to her. Where's Max? I asked, voice cracking. She pointed to the well, lips trembling. She heard him, Dad. She poured something heavy. My heart sank. Wet concrete glistened around the well's rim, smeared with desperate fingerprints. I leaned over the edge. Darkness swallowed my hope, but I pressed my ear to the stone. A faint whimper. Max was alive. Rage burned through me. I didn't ask who she was. I ran to the shed, grabbed a jackhammer, a crowbar, and gloves. Emily flinched with each strike as I shattered the concrete, blood mixing with sweat as shards cut my face. My arms screamed, but I dug deeper, tearing through rebar until the last slab gave way. Max, I shouted into the void. A weak bark answered. I tied a rope to a post and climbed down, flashlight in my teeth. The air was damp, choking. There he was, Max, crumpled in a puddle, legs twisted, fur matted with blood. His chest barely moved. I wrapped him in my arms, his tail brushing my wrist. You're okay, boy, I whispered. The climb back was torture, but I surfaced, and Emily collapsed beside us, sobbing as Max licked her cheek, weak but alive. I looked into the well's black maw. Someone had tried to bury my family's heart. They'd pay. Inside, Emily rocked Max by the fireplace, whispering, You're okay. I checked the backyard camera. At 1:47 p.m., Deborah Vance strode in, pearls gleaming, heels stabbing my grass. A burly man trailed her, dragging a chain. Max barked. Emily stepped in front, small but fierce. Deborah sneered. Move, you little freak, and slapped her. My fist clenched, splintering the table's edge. Emily fell. Deborah yanked Max's leash, kicked his ribs as he fought, and laughed. She grabbed Emily's hair, slammed her head against a planter. Then, with cold authority, she said, Get rid of it. They threw Max into the well and poured concrete, walking away like it was nothing. The video ended, but my resolve didn't. Deborah hadn't just broken the law, she'd broken my daughter. Prison was too kind. I'd deliver her to justice myself. At 2 a.m., I moved. Deborah ran her HOA like a dictator, holding late-night meetings to scheme fines, evictions, pet bans. Her office glowed in the dark, a smug fortress of control. I parked a block away, loaded my Remington 870, and tucked 2 knives and a baton into my vest. No hesitation. I kicked the door in. A guard reached for his hip too slow. Buckshot sent him crashing into filing cabinets. Chaos erupted. A man charged. I shattered his wrist with the shotgun's butt, slamming his face into a glass table. Blood painted the HOA seal. Another tried to run. My knife found his shoulder. He dropped. Deborah sat at the table's head, calm, eyes locked on mine. You're insane, she hissed. You ended your life. I cocked the shotgun. You ended something first. I'm balancing the books. She flinched, reaching for her phone. I shot it off the table. Run, I said. She scrambled out the emergency exit, heels skidding, purse clutched like a shield. I let her go for now. The room reeked of fear. Broken chairs, splintered tables, and men groaning. I tore the HOA's bronze mission statement preserving order, enforcing harmony from the wall, and smashed it through the projector screen. In the filing cabinets, I found her ledgers, forged fines, fake complaints, names of widows and veterans forced out. Then, a file labeled Harper. False pet violations, claims of Emily's instability, forged affidavits. Deborah had been hunting us for months. A wounded man crawled, blood trailing. I pressed my boot to his spine. "Where's she hiding?" He gasped. "Cabin, off the old fire road." I grabbed the surveillance drive and smashed Deborah's throne chair through her prized glass table. Her kingdom was crumbling, but I wasn't done. The fire road twisted through dense woods, moonlight slicing the dark. Deborah's Lexus sat by a cabin, smug between dying pines. I smelled gasoline traps. Circling, I spotted a propane tank wired to the front door. I shot the ignition cord, shorting it out. The back door shattered under my boot. Deborah scrambled across the floor, barefoot, clutching a detonator. "I'll blow us up," she shrieked. I crossed the room, snapped her wrist. She screamed. I crushed the device under my boot. "You're insane," she spat. "No," I said, "I'm awake." Zip-tying her wrists, I dragged her outside. "You buried innocence in concrete," I growled. "Now I'll bury your legacy in fire." I drove her to the HOA mansion columns, spotlights, brass gates. Her face crumpled as I yanked her across the lawn, heels snapping. "This is illegal," she spat. "Good. Let them build my cell by the well you buried Max in." Inside the main hall, under her imported chandelier, I poured gasoline on walls, carpet, and podium. She begged. "I didn't mean for the dog to die. It was symbolic, about order." I snarled. "You beat a child for loving her dog." I tossed her the empty can. "Remember it." Striking a match, I dropped it. Flames roared, curtains curling, smoke climbing. Deborah scrambled to the courtyard, dress burning, one shoe gone. I watched from the garden as her empire burned. Office, boardroom, lies. She collapsed, scorched, broken, screaming my name. I turned away. This wasn't vengeance. It was a correction. They found Deborah crawling, half-burned, arm twisted, face blistered. She lived mercy she didn't deserve. The surveillance drive I uploaded went viral. Deborah slapping Emily, burying Max, pouring concrete. Millions watched. Hashtags like Justice for Max trending. She was arrested in her hospital bed. Felony animal cruelty, child assault, conspiracy. The judge gave her 25 years. Now wheelchair-bound, blind in one eye, she mumbles well, in a state facility, abandoned by her family. Max survived, slower but wagging his tail when Emily sang. Emily smiles now, paints canvas of a black well, golden fur, and a girl holding tight. I rebuilt our gate with iron and scorched steel from the HOA ruins, carving. If the law lags, I don't wait. Justice isn't always in courtroom. Sometimes it's a father who won't let monsters win. Deborah thought power was her clipboard, her rules. She forgot real power, a parent's love, a child's scars, truth burning brighter than flames. Emily learned monsters exist, but they don't win not when someone stands up. What do you think? Was I right to act, or did I go too far? Share your thoughts below on violence, injustice, or standing up. Tell me where you stand.